You ever wonder what really separates the people who succeed from those who, well, just don't? Today, we are diving into this hidden force, this thing that shapes pretty much everything in our lives, from our work to our relationships. It's an incredible idea called mindset, and it comes from the amazing work of psychologist Carol Dweck. So this whole thing kicks off with a total surprise. Carol Dweck was studying how kids deal with failure, and she gives this 10-year-old boy a bunch of puzzles that get harder and harder. And instead of getting all frustrated, he literally rubs his hands together, smacks his lips, and just blurts out, "I love a challenge." Now, that was not the reaction she was expecting, and it launched this whole quest to figure out why. And that right there is the million-dollar question, isn't it? What is it that makes one person look at a tough problem and see this exciting opportunity, while someone else just sees a terrifying judgment of who they are? Dweck's research gives us a fascinating answer, and honestly, it could completely change how you see yourself. All right, so let's rewind and start at the very beginning, with this simple experiment that led to a totally life-changing insight about what makes us tick. Okay, so the setup was super simple. She'd bring kids into a room, one by one, and give them puzzles. The first few were easy, to get them warmed up, but then she'd give them puzzles that were way too hard on purpose. She was expecting to see them get frustrated, maybe a little sad. But what she saw from some of these kids, it was just shocking. They didn't just cope, they lit up. They loved it. One kid even said, I was hoping this would be informative. Who says that? So this totally unexpected reaction got Dweck thinking, and it led her to this core idea of her work, that people, for the most part, live in one of two completely different worlds, and each world is defined by this one powerful underlying belief. The first world, it's run by what she calls the fixed mindset. People here believe that their intelligence, their talent, their personality, it's all just carved in stone. You've got what you've got, and that's it. So everything you do becomes this high-stakes test, a verdict on whether you have enough. The main goal is just to look smart, and whatever you do not fail. But then you have this other world, the world of the growth mindset. Here, people believe that the hand you're dealt is just your starting point. It's not the final story. They see their abilities as things you can grow through hard work and dedication. The goal isn't to prove you're smart, it's to get smarter. It's all about learning and stretching yourself. Wow, okay, this slide just lays it all out, doesn't it? The difference is huge. But look at that last line about failure. That's the real kicker. In a fixed mindset, failure isn't just an action, I failed. It becomes your entire identity, I am a failure. But in a growth mindset, it's just information. It's a setback, sure, but it's a chance to learn something. That one difference changes everything. And get this, here's a really fascinating side effect of all this. Dweck's research found that people with a fixed mindset are actually terrible at judging their own abilities. They're way off all the time. But people with a growth mindset, they are amazingly accurate. They have a crystal clear picture of what they can and can't do, probably because they're not afraid to actually look at their weaknesses. Okay, so this isn't just some abstract psych theory, right? This stuff plays out in the real world every single day, in sports, in our jobs, in our relationships, and the consequences are absolutely real. I mean, just look at the world of sports. You've got tennis legend John McEnroe. For him, being number one wasn't just about winning games. It was about proving he was inherently superior, that he had a special talent that gave him the right to, in his own words, abuse people. It was all about proving he had it. And then, on the complete opposite end of the spectrum, you have Michael Jordan, maybe the ultimate icon of a growth mindset. People called him a god, a genius, a natural. And he hated it. He was embarrassed because he knew it wasn't about some magical talent. It was about his insane work ethic, his practice, his focus, things any human can work on. And this is what that inner voice sounds like when things go wrong in a fixed mindset. A single setback is never just a setback. It's a full-blown catastrophe. It sets off this whole chain reaction of awful self-judgment that turns one bad event into a verdict on your entire life. But maybe the most powerful, most incredible example of a growth mindset in action comes from Christopher Reeve. After a tragic accident left him completely paralyzed, the medical world told him, this is it, you have to accept it. But he just refused. He refused to believe that his condition was permanent. So he starts this insane exercise program that all the doctors are telling him is pointless. But check this out. 5 years later, he starts to regain movement.
movement. His refusal to accept a fixed reality didn't just change his own life, it actually changed the entire scientific understanding of the nervous system's ability to heal, giving hope to so many people. It's just incredible.
Okay, so this brings us to one of the most surprising and honestly one of the most important parts of all this research. It has to do with something most of us do all the time, especially with kids thinking we're helping. It's all about praise. This right here is a total bombshell. Dweck's studies showed, clear as day, that praising kids for being smart or talented actually hurts them. It sounds crazy, but it pushes them into a fixed mindset, which makes them afraid of challenges and more likely to give up when things get tough.
So here's how that trap gets set. You tell a kid, "Wow, you're so smart." They feel great, right? But now they have this label they have to protect. So they start avoiding anything difficult where they might fail and look not smart. Then they start thinking that having to try hard means they aren't smart after all. And the second they hit a real obstacle, their whole confidence just collapses. So, what do you do instead? It's actually pretty simple. The key is to praise the process, not the person or their traits. Instead of saying, "You're a natural," you say, "I love how you stuck with that problem and tried different ways to solve it." You praise the effort, the strategy, the focus, the grit, all things they can control. That's how you build a growth mindset. So, after all of this, what's the big takeaway? What's the most important thing to remember? It's not about feeling bad if you have a fixed mindset. It's about realizing you have a choice. It's about knowing you have the power to change. You know, this quote from Carol Dweck herself just sums it all up perfectly. These aren't just little attitudes. They create two totally different worlds. In one, life is a constant test. In the other, life is a constant opportunity to learn and grow. The world you choose to live in really does shape who you become. And this, right here, is the best news of all. Your mindset is not set in stone. It's just a belief, and you can change your beliefs. Honestly, just knowing that these two mindsets exist is the giant first step. It lets you hear that fixed mindset voice in your head and say, "Wait a minute, I can choose a different way to think about this."
When it all comes down to it, it's this simple. Every single day, with every challenge you face, you get to choose which world you want to live in. The one where you have to prove yourself over and over, or the one where you get to improve yourself.
So, I'm going to leave you with this final thought, a question to take with you. Instead of worrying, will I succeed or fail? Or will this make me look smart? Try asking yourself this instead. It's a small shift, but it's a question that can change your whole day and maybe even your whole life.